Go get me a pad. It would be so appropriate today. Just don't. I first of all want to say thanks to Darren for that song, because like our key passage verse, how God has all this that has this perfect plan for us. We just have to trust him. And I don't know if Darren's following the children's lessons or not, but last week the songs went right along with it, giving God the glory, right? And now this week, that song. And then he offers me a pad of all things. Perfect. And you'll understand why here in a minute. God has a plan. All right, let me get myself together. Hi, Trevor. Huh? He says I'm one of them. Perfect. Okay, so I have a tale to tell you. Are you ready? You ready for my tale? Usually when I start out my sentences at home with "so," my girls think, "Oh my gosh, it's going to be a great story." And this one is. It's called the Tadpole Tale. Okay, so Jeff and I, in our backyard, we have a pond, and it's one of those man-made ones. You dig a hole and you put a plastic liner in it, and then you put a fountain in it, and it's just for pretty fun things. Okay. Well, in my backyard, I also have some woods. And so my pond has provided lots and lots of interesting little things, and as in critters coming to visit us. We've had salamanders, really kind of cool big spiders. We've had raccoon come and put their little paw in the water and make a print in the little mud that's down at the bottom of it. And deer, I'm sure, have drank out. I mean, there's all kinds of critters that have come and visited our pond. We really enjoy our pond. I really enjoy our pond. It gave us a lot of relaxation last year when Jeff was recovering from all of his surgeries and sickness, just to hear the water, because we put a fountain in it to keep it moving so that our mosquitoes don't make it a playground. So anyway, this year I cleaned the pond out, put the water in it. It was really, really enjoyable. We were enjoying it, and all of a sudden, the fountain went out. Now, I was really frustrated with this because, first of all, this meant that the water was sitting still and it was becoming a mosquito playground, and I don't want that, okay? And so that meant work for me. I had to clean the pond out. Secondly, I had to buy a pump to get my pond back because I can't leave it with stagnant water in it. So I cleaned the pond out, and I got the deep part cleaned out, and I was getting ready to clean out the shallow parts, and I looked, and there's these little wiggly things in there. And I thought, what is that? So I got a spoon, a big ladle actually, and I scooped it out, and it's baby tadpoles. Now we have tree frogs all the time, but we had this cool frog out there about 2 weeks earlier, and he made the coolest croak sound. I mean, like, croak, all day long and all night long. Well, he must have invited someone to come visit, and now we have baby tadpoles in the shallow part. And I thought, I can't just scoop them out with the wet dry vac or whatever, and throw them out in the ditch. I'm going to save as many of them as I can. So I got a fish bowl, and I put water in there, and I scooped out as many of them as I could catch. They're pretty fast, and I'm not so fast anymore. And I put them under the tree, the pine tree, outside. They're not my friend. They're not my animal. They're not mine. They're God's. They're going to stay outside. Okay. So anyway, they grew. Now, I asked Caleb, I said, when are we going to feed these little things? So he Googled it. You know what frogs or tadpoles like? And I don't know where they get this in the wild, but they like broccoli. Y'all like broccoli? Yeah. So I cut up little pieces of broccoli, and every couple of days threw a few little pieces in there. And sure enough, they go and they were nibbling, and they were growing. These little tadpoles were growing. So anyway, it's been about 6 weeks now, and I've been checking my little tadpoles every day and feeding them, every couple of days. And so lo and behold, a couple of them are starting to get legs. Back legs. They're the funniest looking back legs on this little fat round tadpole. These little bitty skinny legs. It's kind of like the dinosaur with the little bitty arms. That's what it looks like. And then they grow and they grow, and then they get their front legs, and then they start hopping around. And they got out of my container. So, I tell you all this because it's a really cool transformation that I have seen these little frogs, these tadpoles and frogs go through. And you know what the transformation means? It means change. They changed. okay? They went from a little round thing with a tail swimming in the water to hopping on the ground with legs, okay, or in the water even. And so that reminded me of our story today. So it's a big, long story to tell you my Bible story, okay? Now, the Bible story I'm going to tell you is from, you don't even know if that story was true, do you, about my tadpoles? It's called the Transfiguration. And Transfiguration is just another big word for the word to transform, okay, to change. After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John with him and led them up a high mountain where they were all alone. There he was transfigured or transformed before them. His face was shining like the sun. His clothes became dazzling white, whiter than anyone in the world could bleach them. And there appeared before them Elijah and Moses, who were talking with Jesus. Now, do we remember who Elijah is? He's in the Old Testament. Yeah. He was a prophet in the Old Testament, okay? He told about Jesus and all of his life and what's going to happen with him, okay? And Moses, do you remember who Moses is? Who's Moses? He led the Israelites out of Egypt. So he's called the lawgiver. Why? Because he gave us God gave him the 10 Commandments, and he brought them, okay? Okay, so we have Elijah and Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. Now, these people were dead. They had gone on, lived their life and died and gone on. But these 3 disciples saw Jesus talking to them. And Peter said to Jesus, Rabbi, which is teacher, okay, thank you, Trevor. It is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. And he did not know what to say. They were so frightened. So they saw these 2 men talking with Jesus up on this mountain. And they were like, why did Jesus perform miracles? To show God's glory, to give glory to God, right? To prove that he was God's son, okay? People just didn't talk to dead people like this. That you would see them like that, okay? So this was a miracle. And then, so they wanted to build some tabernacles buildings for them. Then a cloud appeared and covered them, and a voice came from the cloud.